What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I actually heard some pretty good news. I can't lie about this, it's not bad whatsoever, it's good. But at the end of the day, it's kind of wild how inconsistent Activision is, and you could tell it's not being done with good intentions. But as you can see right here from the Ghost of Hope, pretty much all of the BO2 maps for Black Ops 7 are finished as far as I'm aware. I've also heard that Black Ops 7 post-launch content is going to try to get as close as possible to the content output Modern Warfare 3 had. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys remember, I actually enjoyed Modern Warfare 3. Of course, it still had its fair share of issues when it came down to skill-based matchmaking, servers, so on and so forth, but when it came down to, putting out good content, solid updates, so on and so forth, it was actually a pretty dang good year. But I gotta be real with you guys, this inconsistency with content within the Call of Duty universe is really starting to throw me off a bit. And again, I'll be real with you guys, although, it's good that we're gonna be getting a lot of content, I don't think I'm convinced this time around when it comes to, this layout within Call of Duty. It's something that I've been begging for so long, but the way Activision handles it is just disgusting, and I'll explain exactly why. But of course, first and foremost, I do want to go ahead and showcase this to you guys as well before I actually get into details on, why I think this system is kind of scummy now. Now, as you can see right here from Multi-Kill, this was in response to what the Ghost of Hope said. So are those maps going to be pumped out as DLC? Because earlier, you said only 3 were coming at launch, and Hope said yes, DLC. So basically, you best believe the majority of Black Ops 7 is just going to be recycled BO2 content. Maybe not at the launch of the game. At the launch of the game, we'll probably get a decent amount of new maps. But you'll best believe they're going to be relying heavily on remasters. Pretty much the same scenario as Modern Warfare 3 2023. But with that being said, let me go ahead and explain to you guys exactly why I think that this is pretty scummy now. Although we're getting a lot of content, I personally think, like I said, it's scummy. It might sound weird. It might be a little awkward. People are going to say, well, how? JB, you're just hating to hate. But I've been watching this cycle for a very long time now, ladies and gentlemen. And they have finessed me a lot of times as well. They have pulled me back in and have convinced me, especially with Modern Warfare 3. But watching how Activision moves, you know for a fact that this is just to go ahead and manipulate us even further within the future. It all started off with Vanguard. If you guys don't remember, we were complaining like nobody else's business throughout the whole lifespan of Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War, that both those games didn't launch with any content. And then Vanguard came out, and it launched with almost double the amount of base maps at launch, with a ton of grindable content throughout the whole lifespan of that game. Of course, Vanguard didn't really turn out to be the most popular of Call of Duty titles, but they gave us a lot of content, and it's weird because, of course, they gave us a lot of content on the game that had one of the worst development cycles behind the scenes. Vanguard, guys, was rough for the developers. It was not easy whatsoever for them, and it was kind of a, again, rushed, put-together project. But, of course, for the rushed, put-together project, now they stuff it filled with content. And, the whole community was happy about that, though. Although we had our, complaints when it came to Vanguard, we got a lot of maps, something that we have complained about for years. So you can't really be angry about that. But then the year following up, we get Modern Warfare 2 2022. And we all expect them to keep up the same amount of content, right? It's like you can't just go ahead and raise the bar and then just drop it again. No, you have to raise the bar and either meet that bar again or go even further. That's what you do. You like if you don't do that, you're not supposed to raise the bar in the first place, right? I think that's just common sense. If you're not confident with matching it again and again and again, don't do it. So a lot of us going to the mall for 2022 thought we're going to be getting the same amount of content. Wrong. We got less, almost on par with Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War, which we were complaining about. The reason that Vanguard got a ton of content, and then we go right back to that same type of content drought. Strange, isn't it? And then Modern Warfare 3 2023, which was considered the quote-unquote DLC game, once again gets packed with content. Absolutely filled to the brim. Tons of things to go ahead and do. Once again, making the community think, oh, you know what? They might actually care. They might actually go ahead and stuff this game with content. They might actually go ahead and, continue this this trend within this franchise. And then Black Ops 6 comes around. And again, me, myself included, I got finessed by the system as well. I genuinely thought that it's finally time. They're turning things around, and they're giving us a bunch of content for us to go ahead and grind. False. Black Ops 6, barely anything. And the DLC later on for each season was just horrible. Not map-wise. I actually think some of the maps were pretty good. But the amount of content that we got, you couldn't even compare to games like Vanguard or Modern Warfare 3 2023. And then here we are again with Black Ops 7. Again, the DLC game, right? The DLC to Black Ops 6 at this point, which everybody's considering it. And they are apparently on par with the same amount of content as Modern Warfare 3 2023. Again, guys, this is good. You can't deny it. It is good to get a bunch of content shoved into Call of Duty games. You know, if they can't go ahead and innovate on this franchise, the least they can do is stuff it with content for us to, constantly come back and enjoy. But this right here is one of the reasons why I personally think I'm just going to not even bother with Black Ops 7 this time around. Of course, there's other reasons, especially with Activision saying the franchise is too big to fail. That really rubbed me in the wrong direction because, again, just proves that they don't care. There's no need to care. If they genuinely think that they could do anything without the game flopping, that's not a good position as a consumer to be in. So that was, obviously a big red flag. But this right here is a massive red flag as well. Because this right here proves that Activision doesn't actually want to consistently put content like this into their games. This isn't going to be a year-to-year basis type of thing. It's only implemented to go ahead and bait the audience back in to make, the audience think that, oh yeah, this is going to be the new version of COD. This is what the future is going to look like. Just to finesse us with another half-assed title down the road. To me, it seems like this is how they are currently balancing out, pushing out yearly, games. Because back in the day, I say it all the time, but it was easier to release yearly titles back then because the franchise was still fresh to innovate upon the streaks and the perks and everything, the map design, to innovate on all that stuff is easier because the franchise has barely been around, but the franchise now has been here for ages. How much more can you truly innovate on the Call of Duty formula besides chasing trends? I say it all the time, but this franchise would benefit so heavily if they would just skip a year or two and allow a Call of Duty game to just simply breathe. But they don't. And this right here, to me personally, is the way that they work around that issue. They stuff the DLC games, the games that are half-assed. Well, it's hard because the main title is like BO6 is supposed to be a main title. A lot of people think it's half-assed. Modern Warfare 2 2022 is supposed to be a main title. Everybody thinks it's half-assed. So I guess all of them are half-assed. But in all reality, Modern Warfare 2 2022, Black Ops 6, those games are supposed to be the big boys. And then games like BO7, Modern Warfare 3, so on and so forth, were supposed to be the quote-unquote DLCs. And the way that they get away with it is, again, stuff those with content, get the community hyped, make them think it's going to be like that the next year, and then bring out a half-assed game. And then go ahead and for the next title say, oh, all this content's coming back in. Bring back in the audience, get them hyped, and then the next game afterwards, back to zero content again. It's a toxic cycle that goes on repeat again and again and again. I think the only way that I will truly believe in this, and I will probably cave, is if I see them do this for more than 1 year straight. Because as I stated, this should be something that's happening on a year-to-year basis. There's no excuse. Activision is worth how much money? What is their budget? How much do they pull in on microtransactions every single year? There's literally zero excuse that they can't stuff a crap ton of content into every single one of their games. They are the top dog FPS that everybody knows about. As I stated, there's no excuses. I guess the reason that they're able to get away with it is, as the Activision leadership says, they're just too big to fail. So they could do whatever they want and people will eat it up. But I'll tell you what, again, from my personal perspective, until they can actually consistently, bring this to the table year after year after year, I'm just not going to even bother. I don't think I can. It's insulting because, as I stated, I've been finessed too many times. And it has to come to a point where you stop getting finessed with it. Vanguard made me believe in it, and then Modern Warfare 2 2022 screwed me over. Modern Warfare 3 made me believe in it, and then Black Ops 6 went ahead and screwed me over. And it's sad because, who knows? I might actually be able to believe in BO7 if I went ahead and played it. It might actually turn out to be, decently solid. But that's not going to guarantee what the future of the franchise is going to look like. BO7 might have a bunch of content, and guess what? When Modern Warfare 4 is going to be bare bone. But if Modern Warfare 4 can release with a lot of content, and then afterwards Sledgehammer Games can release their game with a lot of content, that would slowly build my faith a little bit more that they are indeed going to consistently drop content a lot in these games. But until that moment happens, this is just a total marketing scheme by Activision to either rebuild faith or to build hype for their, I don't want to call it a lower budget game, but that's what I kind of assume these are. They're, quote-unquote DLC projects. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, I would love to hear what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. Do you think that this will be great news for BO7? Do you think BO7 is going to thrive very nicely because of stuff with content? Or, again, do you agree with me and you think this is just all for marketing? They're basically just going to fill this game up to the brim with content. And then next year, we get absolutely nothing. They want to finesse us now, convince us for the next one, and give us something half-assed again. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 Eastern Time, and sometimes I even double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Everything between COD, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders, Battlefield. You best believe you hear it on this channel. And of course, last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.